Maria was making dinner in her Phoenix apartment when 3 loud knocks shook her front door. 2 cops at her door in Arizona, and she had no idea what they wanted. Her stomach dropped. She didn't know what she was required to do, what she was allowed to say, or whether she even had to open it. Most people at this moment make one critical mistake, and it's not opening the door. It's what they say after they open the door. There's a legal protection your home has that your car doesn't, one that changes everything about how that encounter plays out. And there's a set of exact words that can protect you. Here's something that most people don't realize. Under the Fourth Amendment, your home is the single most protected space you have, more than your car, more than your person on the street, more than your office. The Supreme Court has said it repeatedly. The right of a person to retreat into their home and be free of unreasonable government intrusion is the core of the Fourth Amendment. If you've seen the video on what to do during a traffic stop, you know that officers have a lot more latitude with your vehicle. They can look through your windows. They can walk a drug detection canine around your car. The rules are different at your front door. At your home, officers generally cannot enter without one of 3 things: your consent, a warrant, or an emergency that legally justifies coming in without either, also known as exigent circumstances. That distinction is everything, and it's why you say at your front door matters so much. When you hear that knock, the first thing to understand is that you are not required to open your door. There is no law in Arizona that says you must answer a knock from police. If officers knock and you don't answer, in most circumstances, that's the end of it. But most people do open the door, and that's okay as long as you know what happens next. If you choose to open the door, step outside, close the door behind you, or speak through a door or a window. The reason is simple. Anything an officer can see from your doorway, anything in plain view, can become the basis for further action. If they see drug paraphernalia on your coffee table, if they smell drugs coming from inside, if they see someone who appears injured, those observations can create probable cause or justify entry under exception of the warrant requirement. So the goal is straightforward. You can be polite and cooperative without giving them a view of your inside of your home. You control the frame. This is the part everyone wants to know. What do you actually say? Start with this. How can I help you? That's it. Polite, neutral, not confrontational. If they ask to come inside, your answer is, I don't consent to any searches. I'm happy to speak with you out here. Say it calmly. You're not being hostile. You're exercising a constitutional right. If they start asking questions about something that's happened about you, about someone in your home, you are not required to answer. You can say, I'd like to speak with an attorney before answering any questions. That's not suspicious, that's smart. And in my experience, the people who say this sentence early are the ones who come out of these encounters in the best position. Here's what you don't say. Don't volunteer information. Don't explain what's going on inside. Don't say, I have nothing to hide. Come in. That sentence has led to more consent searches than you would believe. Consent, once given, is very difficult to challenge later. Details in these examples are changed to protect the privacy, but I've handled cases where a person says, sure, come in, to officers who initially just there about a noise complaint, and it ended up with felony drug charges. One sentence changed everything. There are specific legal defined situations where officers can enter your home without a warrant and without your permission. These situations also called exigent circumstances. These are narrow, but they're real. The first is exigent circumstances. If officers have probable cause to believe that evidence is being destroyed right now inside your home, they can enter. If they hear someone screaming for help, they can enter. If they're in hot pursuit of someone who just committed a serious crime, and that person runs into your house, they can follow them in. The second is community caretaking exception. If officers reasonably believe someone inside is in immediate danger, a welfare check where they hear sounds of a medical emergency, for example, they can enter to render aid. The third is plain view combined with other factors. If officers is lawfully standing at your door, which courts have recognized as a place where they're permitted to approach, and they see or smell something that creates probable cause, they can justify further action. This is why I said earlier, don't open the door wide. Don't give them the view. And the fourth is consent. If you say yes, they're in. And once they're in, anything they find in plain view during a consensual encounter is fair game. That's why the words used matter more than anything else in this entire video. If officers say they have a search warrant, the rules change. A valid warrant signed by a judge means they have legal authority to enter and search the areas specified in that warrant. You cannot refuse entry when a valid warrant is presented. But here's what you should do. Ask to see it. Read it. A warrant must describe the specific place to be searched and the specific things they're looking for. If the search warrant says they can search your garage for firearms, they cannot tear down your apartment, your bedroom, looking for documents. Scope matters. While they're executing the warrant, stay calm, don't interfere, don't try to hide anything, don't answer questions. You can say, I'm not going to answer questions without my attorney present. You can also have someone record the search from a reasonable distance. Document everything, which officers were there, what they searched, and what they took. After they leave, call an attorney immediately. There are multiple grounds on which a warrant can be challenged. Maybe the information used to obtain it was stale. Maybe it was based on unreliable informant. Maybe the scope exceeded during the execution of the warrant. In my experience, working on both sides, the execution phase is where mistakes happen most often. Those challenges happen in court, not in your living room at that moment. I want to cover the most common mistake I see because every single one of them is avoidable. First, talking too much. Officers who knock on your door are often investigating something. They're gathering information. Every word you say can and will be used. The less you say, the better your position. Second, letting them in to prove you have nothing to hide. You don't need to prove anything. The burden is on them, not on you. You don't prove innocence by surrendering your rights. Third, roommates and family members. If someone else in your home gives consent to enter, officers may argue that consent was valid. Have a conversation with everyone in your household about what to do if police show up. Everyone needs to know the rule. Don't consent to a search and call an attorney. Have you ever had police knock on your door? What did you do? Drop in the comments because I guarantee other people watching this video are wondering the same thing. Fourth, getting confrontational. This is not the time to debate your constitutional law on your front porch. Be polite. Be brief, and let your attorney handle legal arguments later. The goal is to get through the encounter without making your situation worse. If something goes wrong during the encounter, if your rights are violated, that's what your Miranda protection and your attorney are for. And we cover those exactly what those rights mean and don't mean in another video. If someone actually arrests you during one of these encounters, the next thing that happens matters just as much. I break down the full post-arrest process step by step in the next video. And if you're dealing with a situation right now where police show up at your door, our contact information is in the description. What would you do if police knocked on your door tonight? Tell me in the comments.